podcast where myself, Brian, and my friend over here, Gustavo, talk about different aspects of adult life and various other topics we're passionate about. Mostly from a boomer and a zoomer's perspective. So before we get into this week's topic, Gustavo, how was your week?
My week was, it was both stressful, but also really, I think it was a good week.
That's good.
I don't know if I've told you this, but I am officially the lead.
Yeah, you kind of half mentioned it on Sunday.
Oh, did I? Oh,
yep.
Well, whoops. But yeah, this week I actually did lead stuff, and I ran the team by myself, and it was fun. It was good, and we got shit done early actually.
Yo, I'm proud of you for that one.
Yeah, we're doing shit's better now that I'm the lead.
That's good.
I'm making sure shit's being done right. But this week I had to work literally every single day. Today was my only day off. So
yeah, that sounds about right. That was me last week where mine was only Sunday.
Yeah, I have a bit of a love-hate relationship with the 22 hours of overtime I'm going to have this week.
Valid.
But yeah, how was your week?
It was okay. I ended up eating some bad shrimp, I think, Wednesday. Getting pretty sick. That kind of sucked. I honestly was worried it was something else, but after I threw up and got a night's rest, I felt so much better. So I'm like, okay, so it was probably just the bad shrimp. But I felt so much better after throwing up. So I'm avoiding any of the seafood frozen dinners from work for a little while.
Oh, it was from
yeah, it was from Walmart.
That's good. That's good to know. That's good.
Yeah, no, it did not feel good. Other than that, Korean and I just finished watching the newest episode of WandaVision. So
how's that going?
Oh my god, it is so good.
But I've heard it's really good.
So since he's not seen it, no spoilers allowed in the chat, guys. No spoilers because it's honestly a really good series.
No spoilers in general.
Well, yeah,
we don't do that here.
I mean, I am playing like a 21-year-old game. Or no, 18-year-old game. So, I mean, can I really spoil that? But as you guys can see, I'm actually playing one of my favorite games, Digimon World 3, which brings us into our topic. We're going to be talking about our history with gaming, and specifically games that matter to us most and that affected us. So Gustavo, if you could choose one game exclusively to play for the rest of your life, what would you choose?
Oh my god, that's a really hard question. I have two answers for that. I can't pick one. So my first answer would obviously be Minecraft. I've been playing that game my entire fucking life.
Valid.
Like, I think I started playing early middle school, I think is when I started playing Minecraft. And I have not stopped playing that game ever. Even if so I can play the game a shit ton and then I might take a break, but I will that's a game I will always come back to eventually. It doesn't matter like how long it's been since I played it, I will always come back to it and I'll fucking love that shit. My other option though, it has to be Pokemon.
That is 100%
has
valid.
to be Pokemon.
Any Pokemon game you would choose of any?
Oh my god. That's hard. Picking one only? Holy shit. Like, if I was to pick one, I think it would be one of the Gen 4s. Because that's the one I've had. That was my introduction to Pokemon games, actually. Was Pokemon Pearl. And I remember specifically, I got this for Christmas. I also got my DS for Christmas that same day. Oh my god, dude. I did not let go of that DS for fucking hours. Hours, my guy, just playing Pokemon. And it was so much fun.
That's
valid. Just a game. I can always replay that game and I'll always have a good time.
Oh,
no matter what.
So, no surprise, one of my choices is also Pokemon. it would very much be, if I were to choose one though, it would be one of the Gen 2 games. Gen 2 was because I grew up obviously in Pokemania, being a little bit older than you, because apparently I'm a boomer.
You are a boomer.
But yeah, I grew up in Pokemania, but I was kind of just too young to truly understand Pokemon Red and Blue. I had Blue, I loved it. I didn't fully understand it. By the time Gold and Silver came out, though, I understood Pokemon and fell absolutely in love with it in Gold and Silver. And that's why, like, my top 10 Pokemon, most of them are Gen 2 Pokemon. Probably the other Pokemon game I would choose, though, is Black and White, because actually that's when I got back into Pokemon. My best friend actually got me into it. Me and him had been hanging out. We'd been playing Yu-Gi-Oh! And stuff. And he was excited about the new games. And he was going to get both because his parents had money. And so he was getting both, and he was going to give me one of the copies to play through, and so he could get all the exclusive Pokemon, because that's the kind of person he is. I love my best friend dearly. So for me, those would be the Pokemon games I would choose. Other games I would choose, I absolutely love Persona 5. Yes. Ha ha ha. I'm a JRPG nerd. As if you were surprised by that. I've replayed God. Why can't I think of the name of the Sly Cooper. Any of the Sly Cooper games, I absolutely loved them. And then the other
played those.
Oh, they're such good let me rephrase that. They're not good platformers, but I love them. And then probably the other game that I would constantly replay would be any of the WWE games that have GM mode.
Oh my god, yes.
Any game that has GM mode where I can control everything that goes on, I'm praying that the new WWE game has it, because I'm going to day one purchase, and spoiler alert for stream, I am streaming that shit. That will be a weekly thing every single week.
WWE games will never be the same, Brian. Never.
You're not wrong. They won't.
It's too
but
late.
I just really hope for it.
After 2011, they're never the same.
You're not wrong, but I hope. But yeah, that would be it for me. Now, going off of that, what is the first game you remember playing, though? Like
the very first game I remember playing, I can tell you for a fact it was a GameCube game. I think the GameCube was my first system. Let's see. So there are multiple options here. There's either Super Mario Sunshine.
Okay.
There is maybe Mario Kart Double Dash. Let's see. It might have been Super Mario Sunshine. That's probably my earliest memory playing the GameCube.
That's valid.
And I fucking love Super Mario Sunshine. In fact, I literally just bought
the collector's edition,
Mario 3D All Stars collection. I bought it literally just yesterday from Shane.
Nice. I have my copy. I still have not actually opened it. I actually never got to play any of the original Mario 3D games. So on their original release.
Purple. I was fishing and I got a purple fish.
Nice. But for me, the first game I can truly go back and remember playing was Spyro Year of the Dragon. Probably one of because when I was growing up, my dad absolutely loved his PlayStation 1. He was obsessed with Tomb Raider, Mortal Kombat. I remember watching him play those games. I never understood them, but Spyro, that was my game. I loved Spyro the Dragon. So it was always one of my first memories. I can remember after that, because I kind of grew up when I was much younger with my grandparents. So they got me a lot of hand-me-down stuff from garage sales and stuff. So they got me a lot of, I had Nintendo, Super Nintendo. I actually did not have an N64 for a very long time, so I missed out on actually some of my favorite games later in life, like Harvest Moon and Pokemon Stadium. But so I remember on the SNES I had this game called King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table, I think it was. And it was a strategy puzzle game. And I absolutely loved it. It was one of my favorite games that I'd always go back to. Secret of Mana was a game that I also played quite a bit when I had my Super Nintendo. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Spider-Man were the big ones I remember from my childhood. But when I got older and I could start understanding games more, I actually ended up having to share consoles with my siblings because I grew up with 4 younger siblings most of my life until I got much older. I have a lot of siblings now. I have like 10 or something if we count all my additional step siblings and my adopted siblings. I have a lot of siblings now. So I had to share a console. So I remember certain games I had to share, and I always had an issue with it because my youngest stepsister was notorious for deleting my saves or overwriting them.
No.
It was the most frustrating thing ever. Because Harvest Moon, A Wonderful Life, literally probably my top. If I could play a game forever, it would probably be that one. I love that game so much. It's so simple, and I don't think I'm sure this will be controversial. It is my favorite Harvest Moon game, and I think the best. Like Stardew does a really good job imitating what the 64 one was kind of about, but A Wonderful Life had just a very different element, and the art style is so gorgeous for its time, and I absolutely love it. But I remember I could never get past Fall because my stepsister would always erase it.
Oh my god.
Always. It was the most
so
frustrating
pissed.
thing. It got to the point I ended up saving up allowance just to get a memory card for myself that I hid in my bedroom. It was that bad. She also did that to my Dragon Ball Z game because I had Budokai 2, which was one of my favorite games. She did that to Psychonauts. I never beat Psychonauts because I was almost through the game and she erased it. And I was like, I'm not replaying this. And it used to cause a lot of fights in my household, which I'll get into in a later episode talking about other situations. But yeah. So I ended up having those issues where, especially when I was living with my father, I could not have games. As I like to say, I couldn't have nice things because a lot of things ended up getting ruined for me. Stuff like games getting erased. So it got to the point I didn't want to play games for a very long time. And it wasn't until I ended up moving in with my mother that I ended up getting into more games because my stepdad at the time had a PS2 and stuff. Or no, I'd gotten a PS2 technically for my birthday from my grandfather on my mom's side. And my stepdad had gotten the WWE SmackDown vs. Raw game to go with it because he had gotten me back into wrestling. I had been out of it for years at that point. And so it was one of those things, like when I got back into it, I got into gaming hard when I could finally do it. That's when I got into Digimon World 3 again, and I got into Monster Rancher, and trying to remember what other games I was big on as a kid that I absolutely remember loving playing. Because I did not have a gaming PC. I did not play Minecraft. I did not play really even RuneScape, which was obviously big as I was growing up. I never got to really play games like that. League, I didn't play until you got me into it at Worlds, 2019?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2019, yeah.
So I'd never played any of the big games. I was a console gamer, but I wasn't the newest console always. I didn't get the newest console until Skyrim came out on 360, and I had to have it. I was like, no, I need this game. I was absolutely obsessed. I loved Skyrim. I've never actually beaten Skyrim, but I loved it. It's one of those games that I've always told myself I'm going to go back and play. Same with Fallout 4. I've always said I'm going to go back and play it. I never have. But I'm really those are games I might visit down the line with this podcast and stuff. But for you, Gustavo, what were other games that like you remember growing up that like really affected you?
Well, really thinking about it, a lot of the games that I've played were mostly like multiplayer games. I've noticed while you're talking, I was kind of thinking, and I've made a realization that almost all of my like every time I play a game, it's almost always like a multiplayer game. Whenever I'm playing games, it's usually to talk to other people, like talk to my friends, and like basically just spend time with other people. Because I've noticed this started even early on when I had my GameCube. Because when I first got my GameCube, it was literally me and my mom that would play together, and she always played with me until I eventually started beating her. And then she tells me this. She played games with me until I started beating her, and then once I started beating her, she just stopped playing games. My mom's a bit of a sore loser, I'd guess. But,
that sounds about right.
Yeah. But yeah, and that makes me think that Mario Kart was probably my first game, and not Sunshine, because I probably played it with my mom. So I also have a sister, and I can share your pain with having to share consoles. It is quite the issue. I've had some issues with that before, with the whole argument of this console is mine, this console is not yours. It's my turn. I want to play this game, but I'm playing.
Mom
this game.
says it's my turn on the Xbox.
Yeah, I can share your pain with that one. I've had a few arguments with my sister because we were trying to figure out, is this mine or is this yours? Can I play it or can you play it? But my voice is cracking. I need some more water.
Then drink water.
I drank all my water, Brian. I'm very sad. But
So
yeah,
where
I
else
think
Digimon?
once my mom stopped playing with me, that's when I really got into single player games, and that's probably when I started playing Sunshine and games like that. And holy fuck, was that literally just started consuming my fucking life, Brian. You don't understand. As soon as I started playing Sunshine, that was like the only shit I played. But I also realized that I have a problem where I start a game and then I don't finish it. So actually, a lot of the games that I played, I've never like finished it whatsoever.
This game for me. But yeah, no. So, I very much was the opposite. I, as a kid, didn't really have anybody I really connected with. My younger brother and cousin, who are right around my age, we didn't have the same interest. My cousin was very sporty. He would prefer to hang out outside and stuff. And I was like, nah, I'm good to game. I'm good to game. Yeah. And my brother is very much a follower, so he'd follow my cousin whatever he'd want to do and stuff. So it always kind of left me being alone. So a lot of the games I ended up really getting into were solo games because I was always by myself. And so it actually ended up leading to actually some really good things with me, because it ended up helping me deal with my loneliness and anxiety, because growing up I didn't have a lot of like consistent friends until about middle school. Before that, I kind of was very much to myself. Leave me alone. I'd rather not deal with you. Obviously that is very much not who I am now. But yeah, no, it's one of those things like when I look back at gaming especially, it's very much feels like the thing that oddly enough, I don't think, like some people will probably be like, oh, it took over your life. Yeah, but it's also probably the one thing I couldn't live without at this point. Because it's my stress reliever. It's what keeps me kind of from letting myself go too deep down any hole or anything. So it's one of those things, I think if you're not a gamer, you might not understand that the reason nostalgia is so powerful, and it's not just in games, let's be real. The reason nostalgia sells is people either yearn for a simpler time or want to fix the memories they have of that time. For me, it's very much the latter, where I didn't have too great of a time as a kid, so I want to take back those memories that I could have had. So, but I think that's one of the interesting things with gaming, and especially nostalgia gaming, that I think people miss out on why it's a thing. Because so many people think it's just about, capturing your childhood and stuff, but it's more than that most times.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
For me, I've had a very different experience with games, because I think I've told you this before, but my introvertness started literally when I came to college. Like, before, I was super extroverted, and as soon as I came to college, all that shit just like shut down, dude.
Mm-hmm.
But I basically, like I said before, I played a whole bunch of multiplayer games, and I pretty much all my games were multiplayer. I had a cousin, my favorite cousin. We used to play, like, we had similar interests.
Mm-hmm.
There were some things that he played that I didn't, but because he was my favorite cousin, I gave it a try, and it actually turned out that I like some games. So, we used to, him and my dad were the reason why I got into wrestling when I did. My dad fucking loves wrestling. Fucking loves that shit. And my dad is also the type of person that would never play a game.
Mm-hmm.
But your boy had the WWE games. I had that shit on the Wii. I had like 2009 and I think 2010 at the time. And those were literally the only games that I could get to play with my dad.
You know, those were the worst ones because they didn't even have a GM mode.
Hey, those games are great. I stand with, after 2011, the games turned to shit.
Oh, 100% still agree with that.
I'm not sure about 2012 though. I don't think I've ever played that one.
It was fine. It was kind of when it went on its downturn. It didn't get extremely bad until fairly recently though, like about 2018 onwards.
Right now, holy fuck, those games are doomed.
Oh my god.
Hello. Those games are absolutely doomed right now.
Oh yeah. 100%.
I don't think they're coming back. I don't think they can make it, Brian. I think it's too late for
apparently they're already planning to bring it back. I think this is literally, if they fail this time, they're done. There's no coming back.
Trying to fail it on purpose.
I mean, there's talk of that's what 2K is trying to do, to just drop the license. Oh yeah.
It really seemed like they were throwing.
Yeah, they were kind of inting their lane a little bit.
Yeah, that shit was.
But I mean, they seem to be doing that with all their kind of games. If we're being honest, look at NBA or not NBA, NFL, Madden.
I don't really like sports games that much. Not because of the sports or the game itself, but just the fact that they're sending you the same game every year with just a different roster is kind of shit to me.
I 100% agree. What I love in sports games is the simulator part. I love management, but I'm a freaking nerd. I hate numbers, but for some reason, stuff like that, like GM mode in the older WWE games, literally, I will play for hours, days even, min-maxing shit out, trying to get everything figured out. It's insane the amount of time I put into it.
And this is why you're a business admin major.
I mean, you're not entirely wrong. So actually, kind of going into that, so obviously, I actually kind of know the game that it intrigued you into esports, but because obviously it's League. But
yeah, for sure.
What got you into League actually?
So, yeah, I was gonna talk about that. In middle school, my senior year of middle school, I had a friend. His name was Raymond, and this man was fucking senior in middle school, already in Diamond, right? And he's like, hey, I have a game I can show you. And then I'm like, okay, yeah, I like games. So I remember this vividly, dude. Very, very vividly. My very first game of League was a custom game in Howling Abyss. I played Jinx, and Yasuo just came out, and he played Yasuo. This man was a diamond, Brian.
So he smacked you.
He used Yasuo on release.
Yeah, he smacked you.
I don't remember how bad Yasuo was on release, but knowing how Yasuo is now, imagine on release, my guy.
I can only imagine.
And I was just a poor ADC. I was just a poor Jinx, dude.
Yeah, where he essentially
fuck,
counters you.
That was rough, but that was my first time playing League. I didn't get into League that year. I got into League the year after because so in high school we had like an advisory, which was pretty much just like a group of people that you meet with once a week or every couple days, and basically you just talk about like problems, talk about how your classes are going, get shit done if you need help or anything like that. Basically, like it's basically like homeroom, but instead of having it every day, it was like once or twice a week. And the people in my advisory, which are now my very close friends, or at least some of them are, they played League, and I sort of knew what League was. I played it just a little bit, and with them, I really got into League, and now it's like a game I don't stop playing, even though I haven't touched it in a while.
Speaking of, Wiz just came in chat and said, searching for the source of the addiction I see. Damn.
Yeah.
Ouch. So actually, that brings me... so technically when I played with you was actually not the first time I had ever played League. I had played League, a couple games of League before that actually, because I was taking a video game narrative class at my community college. And in it we were talking about... we were discussing... we had to play a game and talk about the story in it. And I was like, oh, there's not really a game I have time to play right now. I'm like... So I was like, do you know, I'll play League. One of my buddies was big into League, so I played it, and I did an analysis of it. I actually played Twisted Fate as part of my first game. I absolutely love Twisted Fate. I think lore-wise and artistic-wise, he's such a cool character. So I wish I could play him. He is so technically, like, way above what I do.
Dude, I can teach you how to play him.
I'm good. I don't have time for that. But yeah, no. So that was actually the first time I had played League. But like for me, that was like a one-time experience and stuff. I was like, oh, I'm never going to touch this game again. Even though actually before that, I'd played a couple different MOBAs at that point. I had played, what was the one that Fortnite killed? That was also made by Epic. Oh, I can't remember.
Made MOBAs?
They made a MOBA that was like really big that they killed it because Fortnite was just so much more profitable.
I don't remember Epic making a MOBA.
Paragon.
I don't even know what that is.
It was, I think it was a PlayStation 4 exclusive. Okay, not good.
Yeah, I've never owned any PlayStation.
Yeah, it was Paragon. So, I remember getting into the beta of that, and I had at that point already played Smite once or twice, and I had played the DC MOBA that they had for a hot minute.
Wait, DC MOBA?
Yeah, DC came out with a MOBA years ago. Technically it was when I was in Afghanistan it came out, and I was playing it. It was actually really fun. It ended up getting killed because it just did not release enough content to compete with stuff like League. But I liked it. I would love more MOBAs that are based on characters. Hence, I'm actually really excited for the Pokemon one.
Oh, I think I have a faint memory of that DC MOBA. I think I remember a little bit. Very faint memory.
Yeah, it was. As I said, I only played it a couple times when I was in Afghanistan and stuff. But yeah, that was like my first real experience with MOBA. I didn't really play MOBAs. I wasn't, because as I said, I didn't have a gaming computer until later in life. And because I actually got my gaming computer while I was in AIT for the military. Some of my buddies, they had wanted to, because they already had gaming laptops and stuff, and they had wanted to start playing StarCraft 2 actually. It was right when I think the newest expansion had just released. And they were like, hey, let's all go get this. We're going to game all together. We did quite a few times. I got the gaming laptop I actually still have now is that same gaming laptop from 8 years ago? Yeah, 8 years ago, because it was like the end of 2012 when I got it.
That shit's a trooper, my guy. Holy fuck, it's still alive.
Barely. It's holding on by like threads now. But thing works. It still plays games. I've played Overwatch on it, and it still it's a trooper.
Overwatch?
Yeah, the biggest issue it has now is its screen acts up a lot. So, like, when I use it, I usually try to have a second screen for it, like a monitor or anything. Yeah. But yeah, no, thing's still around. Sadly, I don't really play StarCraft with any of those guys anymore. Because we were planning to play StarCraft, and we were going to get into Diablo and World of Warcraft all together. Holy shit, Wiz, that's impressive. But yeah, no. So, like, for me, like, gaming at that point became a social thing. Because before that, the only social interactions I really had with gaming was certain friends that I had in high school. Mostly Rob, actually. Who's actually, about, other than Karina, the only high school friend I really talked to. But yeah, no. Gaming has very much... It didn't become a social thing for me until later in life. As a kid, it was very much an antisocial thing, because I didn't really get along with most people, so... I had a very... Because... Well, let me rephrase that. Gaming wasn't social until the end of middle school, and then a little bit into high school. But it really became social with the military, because a lot of my friends... I've talked about this before. Me and my former roommate, Cleggins, and our buddy Hagman used to have drinking Mario Kart nights. We'd play Smash constantly.
That sounds so fun.
Dude. So the more fun one is to play 8-player Smash with a bunch of people.
Oh, no.
5 lives, and every live you take shots. Every time you die. It was so much fun.
Oh my God,
it is probably the thing I've missed most from the military, other than obviously the people in general. But like that chaos and that community is just so good. That's why when I was leaving the military, because I don't actually know if you know this, but the title belt that the Esports Association has is my belt. That was given to me by all my Smash friends. It was my going away present from all of them. So, me giving it up was really hard. I did it because obviously I knew it would help the club in the long run. That, and it kind of just sat in a box in my house. So I was like, okay. But like,
it's so hard to give up something like that.
Oh yeah, 100%. But obviously, like, it's one of those things, like, me and my old roommate Cleggins still talk shit constantly when new characters come out for Smash, that we're gonna whoop each other's asses. We still haven't done it. I'm gonna sooner or later get his Nintendo shit and whoop his ass. But no, it's one of those things, like, because I got my Wii U exclusively Well, I got it for Mario Kart because me and my friends were talking about, oh yeah, we're gonna, because that's really all we played for a hot minute was Mario Kart, because obviously it was. But
The
it was
only acceptable reason to have a Wii U is probably Mario Kart and Smash.
Well, I will disagree because there were a couple other games I really liked on it. Like, I was a big fan of Xenoblade Chronicles X. My best friend Rob actually got that for me. It was really good. If you're into story-driven games, really good game. I had Pokken Tournament on it. There were a couple other games. I tried Pikmin on it. I didn't.
You had Pokken?
Yeah, Pokken originally.
Switch.
No, DX is on Switch, aka the expanded version. But I didn't get into any of the Mario games on Wii U, but I've never, like, I played the Mario games when I was a kid because I had a Super Nintendo and a Nintendo, but I was never big on Mario. I'm not big on side scrollers.
I fucking love the Super Mario Wii game.
Galaxies?
No, like the regular.
The Super Mario, yeah.
Ones. Yeah. Used to play that shit all the time.
It's one of those. Go ahead,
Brian. Actually, no. Continue.
I was just gonna say, like, that's one of those things. Like, I remember one of the earliest memories I had was me, my cousin, and my brother. Because, as I said, we mostly lived with our grandparents, and every summer we'd go up to my grandparents' camp, which is like way up north, out by Watertown. And we always had a Super Nintendo to hook up and stuff, so we'd play Duck Hunt, where my cousin would secretly cheat because he'd aim at the light when we weren't paying attention. But it's like, it's one of those things that it's so interesting to think about in retrospect. But go ahead, Gustav, what you were saying.
Oh, I was actually gonna change the subject, but then I
Go
realized
ahead.
you were still talking.
Go ahead.
I wanted to know what's up with the game that you're currently playing.
So Digimon, it's very much a JRPG game. I absolutely love it. It's a PS1 game. So what I will state for Digimon over Pokemon, because obviously this argument will be had literally until one of the franchises die, probably even after. Digimon, the games are never exactly the same. Like, the first Digimon game was very much... The first Digimon World game was very much similar to the Pocket Pets, which were obviously based on Tamagotchi. I won't get into all the history. The second one was a dungeon crawler. This one is a JRPG. And then the fourth one we don't talk about. It was really bad. And they've always changed the formula with their games. And I respect that, because Pokemon, while it did it for a little while, they always go back to the core of it. And when things break the mold, they always don't stay. Like Coliseum, XD Gala Darkness, Battle Revolution, Pokemon Snap, even though I am so hyped for new Pokemon Snap. I am streaming that day one as well. They don't really break the mold with their main series games. Digimon has always kind of like, they don't rest on their laurels. Like, even the animes, they change so much. And that's why I love Digimon, and it upsets me so much when people say, oh, it's just a Pokemon knockoff. But it's so much more, because they actually deal with situations. Like, I know in certain series they deal with depression and anxiety, loss, and it's really genuine, and something Pokemon never had the balls to do, if we're being honest.
I was waiting for you to say that.
Because, like, I will always love Pokemon. I will always love Pokemon. Even like the bad games, I hated Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. I didn't even like Sun and Moon, but I played them. Sun and Moon was not good. I'll be completely honest. X and Y wasn't even that good.
I've never owned a 3DS, so I've never played those games.
Valid. But like, so actually, one of the games that Pokemon released but kind of failed, actually absolutely amazing game, is called Pokemon Conquest, which is Pokemon mixed with Nobunaga's ambition. So it's essentially you're trying to take over Japan, quote unquote, with Pokemon and stuff. And it was such an and it was kind of a relationship builder where you build your relationships with the characters and their Pokemon, and the Pokemon evolve. It went so far under the radar, but it was such an innovative and good idea. And actually, Digimon's getting ready to essentially steal that idea for its new game, Digimon Survive. Another game I'm streaming day one. That'll actually be a series, though. But, yeah. But, like, games like that where it was very story-driven and you controlled what happened. Because it was almost like Fire Emblem games. Why I didn't think of Fire Emblem. Probably because I've only played one. But it's very much where your relationships and building them, and then you can lose soldiers permanently when they die. And it's such, like, that's why I actually fell in love with Three Houses when it came out for Fire Emblem. I'd never played a Fire Emblem game really at that point. I played a little bit of Fates, but I fell absolutely in love with Three Houses because I fell in love with the characters. And I think that's what Pokemon misses out on, is there's no consequences to most things. And I get it, it's a kid's game still. But
yeah,
there's a missed opportunity in my mind for so much. This game, I will state, is extremely grindy because you have 3 party members and there's not like an XP share or anything. So you have to grind.
That's rough.
Yeah, it's one of those things like, but at the same time, like, it's part of, and that's why I love JRPGs. Like, that, honestly, JRPGs are good for, like, what we're doing. Because, like, I'm just grinding. I'm mindlessly playing and talking. So that's why I love playing stuff like this. Persona 4 Golden is probably a game I'm going to play sooner or later. That one, I'm a bit more iffy to play because I haven't played it before. So the story to that, I'm actually going to somewhat pay attention to. So I'm iffy on playing it for the podcast.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
But yeah, no. Go ahead.
Oh, actually, no. Keep going.
I didn't have anything more.
I don't mean to keep interrupting you.
You're good. I didn't know what I was saying anymore. I ran out of thoughts.
Okay. So I'm playing Stardew. So like, you remember how I said my introvertedness started in college?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm pretty sure this is the reason, but back when I was in high school, I commuted from, there's no dorms in high school, or at least the one that I was in. Yeah, I don't know if that's different in other places.
I mean, it might be in private schools.
In my case, I lived at home, so I had time to I had time to be with friends, have a good time, and then eventually I would go home and it would just be me and my family, and I'd just go to my room and I'd have my own me time. But when I came to college, I moved to college and I dormed with three of my close friends from high school. And when you're dorming with 3 other people, that means you're pretty much interacting with at least one person at all times. Literally any time I was in my room, there was at least one person there. There was never a time that I could actually be alone. And I think I became introverted because in high school I always had time to recharge. But once I went to college, there was always someone there. So I never had the time to recharge. And that drove me to play a lot more single player games because I didn't want to do shit with other people. I wanted some me time.
Mm-hmm.
So in college, that's when I started playing Stardew actually. And this was the game I played 24/7, Brian. If I was done with class or if I was done with homework, I played Stardew. That was it. That was the only thing you'd see me doing. So Yeah, I've surprisingly, with all the hours that I have into Stardew, I still haven't gotten past year 1.
That sounds about right.
I'm going back to the never being able to finish a game.
That's sad because I have
never gotten.
I'm on year 2 with both my PlayStation 4 one and my Switch one.
God damn. Yeah, and I've bought this game so many times in different places too, and
I've only bought it twice. You bought it for me the third time.
Yeah, I bought it for you. I think I might have bought it for John. I bought it for myself on Steam. I bought it for my Switch.
It's okay. I keep seeing it on my App Store, and I'm like, I cannot get this on my phone. I will.
Yeah. I'm not buying it on my phone. I know better than.
So, because I actually probably should have brought this up earlier when I was asking you about your start in esports. But so for me, I actually did not play a lot of like competitive games for a very long time. When I went to my community college out here, it was obviously right after the military. I was essentially looking for a new group of friends, and because obviously I was going to school kind of later than everyone else. I think most of my friends I'm 5 years older than that I met at CCC. But yeah, so I had actually met all my friends. They were all playing Yu-Gi-Oh! And I still had a lot of my cards and stuff. I had decks I'd built from high school and when I was still in the military, because I went to tournaments with some of my friends. And so I started playing Yu-Gi-Oh! With them. And one of my buddies, Seymour, who streams sometimes too, actually got me into Hearthstone because he was really loving Hearthstone and he was looking to kind of get into tournaments and stuff, but he needed a third. And so it was me, him, and our buddy Cam. It might have been Cam, it might have been Fensky. I can't remember who the third was. But so they got me playing. I was essentially just there as a body at first. Then I started watching them and playing more, and I got really into it. And then Overwatch came out with its competitive scene, and I actually made the team over at CCC. I also made the one over at Oswego, but yeah. So it came down to that's how I got into competitive esports. Is my buddies were looking for just another person to play on the team, and from there is where everything kind of started. Obviously, I got into Hearthstone really big. We made it to regionals twice at Oswego. Still proud of that. I stopped playing. I will admit, I kind of stopped playing Hearthstone after the whole Hong Kong incident. I play every now and then with one of my buddies. He still absolutely loves playing it. We don't put money into the game anymore. We refuse. But we really love playing their, essentially, they made a battle royale mode for it, and I absolutely love it. It's fun to play, especially with friends. It's almost styled like TFT a little bit, which obviously is another game I'm absolutely massive on nowadays. But yeah, so you said you've never owned a PlayStation console, right?
Never.
Oh, you are.
I went from. So the way that my console progression was GameCube to Wii. I can't remember. Yeah, I think it was GameCube to Wii to DS to Xbox 360 to Xbox One and then to Switch, and then I finally got my gaming PC this year.
Yeah, you're welcome.
That was my entire progression. Of course, I had my very controversial, but I used to play games on my Mac, and that's how I played Minecraft and shit like that.
Literal gag.
Hey man, you do what you gotta do, okay?
I mean,
when you only have a Wii and a GameCube and a DS, you do what you gotta do, okay?
I'm at the Mac. No, GameCube,
I know.
Wii, all great games on all those. NDS, great games on all those consoles. Like, probably. So, weird game that probably no one even knows, and I can never beat it because I couldn't get past one part was Baten Kaitos. It was another JRPG.
What?
Spoiler. Yeah, I love JRPGs.
I don't know much JRPGs.
I am that's why I'm such a grindy person, and why like a lot of the games I suggest to my wife Karina, because she actually was not a gamer until she got with me. So Nightbot just yikes.
Sorry, Pepega Bob.
But my wife was not a gamer before she got with me. So she had played Nancy Drew and stuff. She had some other stuff that she used to play a lot, but she was never like playing anything like on consoles or anything. She had stuff when she was much younger on PS2 and stuff, but what actually got her into gaming was I was playing Pokemon Go, and she was seeing a lot of the Pokemon, and she absolutely fell in love with Eevee. That was the first Pokemon she fell in love with. And from there, I kind of got her into the rest of the Pokemon universe and stuff. Hi, Pepe.
Hey, Brian, can I interrupt you for
Go
a
ahead.
second? Okay. So, Pepega Bob, hi. This is Gaming with a Point podcast. This is a podcast me and Brian have once a week. And chat interaction probably won't be there as much, mostly because we're focusing mostly on the podcast and the conversation itself. But if
we do try to interact, especially if you have an opinion.
Yeah, if you would like to add to the conversation, which today is pretty much just a lighthearted conversation on our favorite games and games that we've enjoyed in our past. But chat interaction won't be as much as like a regular stream. So I'm not ignoring you. I'm reading everything. I am just trying to focus on the conversation itself.
Mm-hmm.
All right, continue, Brian. Sorry.
So yeah, that's when I got Karina into kind of gaming more often, and she didn't get big into it until my best friend actually got us for our wedding present. He got us a Nintendo Switch. Like when it had come out, I wanted to whoop his ass so bad.
Yeah.
But he got us a Nintendo Switch and Breath of the Wild. She never really played Breath of the Wild, but then I got her Splatoon 2. When
Breath of the Wild was so much fun.
When she picked up Splatoon 2, she literally fell in love with the game and fell in love with the Switch to the point I did not touch the Switch for a good 2-3 months because she was playing Splatoon constantly. And that's kind of where it all started. It wasn't long after that I got my own Switch, and we both were playing our own games and stuff. And like, there's games that me and her have gotten that have been like co-games that we both get individually to play together. We've done that with Fire Emblem. We've done that with Animal Crossing, Pokemon, obviously. We each got our own version. But yeah, other games we're playing on that.
I have a question, Brian.
Go ahead.
How do you guys decide which version you get? So I'm assuming you guys don't get the same version.
No. She chooses which one has exclusive she likes more. That's how it goes.
So you give
I don't get choice. Yeah, 100%. 100%. I know better. I know how to keep my relationship going.
Yeah. Good on you.
But no, like for Sword and Shield, actually, the deciding factor was Galarian Ponyta? I think it was. I'm almost certain it was Galarian Ponyta was the deciding factor on for her getting Shield. Like, neither of us really cared about Legendary wise, but she absolutely fell in love with Galarian Ponyta. Then she got really big into Animal Crossing to the point like she still plays it and stuff. There's been other games like we've both tried to play and either one of us doesn't get as into and stuff. Like she's obsessed with Immortal Phoenix Rising right now, which is the new Ubisoft game that's kind of like Breath of the Wild, but it's based in Greek mythology. She absolutely loves that game. One, because she's a huge Greek mythology buff, so she absolutely loves playing that game. But also, there's what other games? She plays Little Nightmares a lot now, which is a horror kind of stealth platformer style game. From what I've heard, I've not played it. Then I actually
seen like the trailer.
Yeah. Then there's like other games like we're both getting new Pokemon Snap because she was warned. I'm like, I'm not putting that game down until I 100% it. If you want to play it, get your own copy. And so we pre-ordered her copy too. But it's like, it's one of those things, like, I'm actually, I don't know if she's gonna end up watching this later, but if she does, here's a spoiler for her. I'm gonna be trying to get her a copy of Digimon Survive when it comes out, because she loves the design of certain Digimon and stuff. So I want to get her into that too, because I'm a horrible husband who gets my wife into things like I've gotten her into anime, which I'm sure we'll talk about when we do our anime episode.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, because I know we want to talk anime.
Yeah. 100%. I've watched too much anime in my life to not talk about it.
Yeah, that's 100% a topic me and you have talked about we want to do. But then, actually, because my wife was getting really into PC gaming, and there were games coming out that she wanted on her PC that weren't going to come out on Switch and stuff. And so, I got her, and because obviously, as I said, I have a gaming laptop, but it's old. So
yeah.
I told her, I'm like, all right, well, let's get you a new gaming laptop. We were originally thinking about getting her a gaming PC, but like $2,000, even already having the case and stuff, it's just too much, and the parts are so hard to come by right now.
Especially right now, yeah.
Oh yeah. So
right,
I was like,
prices are fucking insane.
Exactly. So we sat down and talked, and we were like, well, if you want to play anytime soon, we're going to have to get a laptop for now. Maybe down the line, try to get parts, because I want to upgrade mine, and you can have my old parts and stuff. So that's what we've talked about doing down the line. But right now, she's happy with her laptop. She absolutely loves it, actually. She plays a lot of Phasmophobia on it. That's her current favorite game. But she loves horror games. So, like, Resident Evil 8, she's so excited for. I will not touch the game.
Dude, I want to play, like, actually scary games. I don't find shit scary, so I want to find something that will actually scare me.
I don't do scary. So,
Ryan's a little scaredy cat.
I am.
It happens.
But yeah, no. That's why, like, every now and then, especially Fridays, my wife likes to do Phasmophobia streams. But yeah, no, I'm slowly getting her to expand her games and stuff, especially now that she has her own laptop and stuff. She's bought a lot of games. Actually, I've gotten her into a couple JRPGs, the Tales of series specifically. She absolutely loves the series.
Okay.
Anything else you'd like to discuss, Gustavo?
Let's see. Oh, I haven't talked about. I introduced my cousin a little bit, but I haven't talked about some of the games that we used to play. So he was really into like FPS games, and I didn't play much FPS games. So the reason why I play FPS games now, whenever I decide to play them, is because he introduced me to Halo 4. Dude, I fucking love Halo 4. It is so much fun. I fucking love it. I used to pretty much play that shit non-stop. This was like around, I think this was in high school. This was, hold on, my timetables might be a little off. I might have started playing League my second year of high school. And then my first year of high school is when I was playing FPS games. Because my first year of high school, I played a shit ton of Halo 4, and then I eventually started playing a shit ton of Call of Duty Ghost. Yeah, I think that's the timetables. So I would non-stop play fucking Halo 4, play Call of Duty Ghost, Black Ops 2. It was so much fucking fun, and I just have a lot of me and my cousin bonding. Plus, I got to meet people, like I got to meet some of his friends, and it turns out like a random person that I met through those games also went to the same high school. It was fucking insane. It was some nice memories that I have through that shit. But yeah, I basically wrote a list of games that I wanted to talk about, and I think I got through everything.
Yeah, so actually,
just on that list.
So, I'm not a fan of FPSs, as me and you have talked about. My hand-eye coordination is not great.
I never said I was good at the games either, Brian. I'm actually really bad at FPS games.
It's what makes me not enjoy them, though, is I want to be good at a game.
Yeah, that's fair.
So, but like my cousin and my brother were big on those games. Like my brother's best friend Forrest, they would always my brother and Forrest would always hang out. Usually get high and play Call of Duty. Was usually their go-to, and I would always pick on them. I'm like, how can y'all play this game high as shit and still not know what the hell y'all are doing? Like, I walked up one day.
Question.
Answer.
What system were they playing on?
GameCube.
Call of Duty?
Yeah.
On GameCube?
Yeah. Or it might have been Medal of Honor. It was one of the two. But yeah. Go ahead.
I don't think there was. No, I'm trying to think now, because
there definitely was a Call of Duty on it.
On GameCube?
Yes.
What?
I still have it, actually.
Wait, that's funny. That's kind of funny.
But yeah, no, I walked up to them playing it one time, and like they were so high, they were looking at the sky, just running around in circles. It was funny as hell. Troy Force, if y'all ever watch this later, sorry, not sorry.
Holy, that's funny.
But yeah, no, so like I very much, like, a lot of my family play sports games or shooters, so it kind of always isolated me. The only thing I could ever get them to really play with me was like Mortal Kombat and shit, which I was never good at fighting games, but it was always still fun for me.
Yeah, I was never really a big fan of fighting games either. The only fighting game that I played were the Dragon Ball games.
Yep, same. Oof.
Dude,
I love me a Dragon Ball game.
Dragon Ball games just like turned to complete dog shit for me. Like,
you're not wrong. People keep saying Kakarot is so good, but I'm like, I've played the same games over and over.
I actually don't mind. I was really contemplating if I should buy Kakarot or not.
So was I.
On sale a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, I remember we were talking about it.
Really complicated. I was really contemplating it, and I almost bought it. I had it in my cart for like a couple days, and then I decided not to. But
yeah.
To me, the things that I don't like fighting games where there's a lot of open space and like it turns into just people running around, and I find that shit so annoying. I like the old type of fighting games where it's like you can't go past the fucking screen. You're forced to fucking fight.
That's valid.
Like my favorite fighting game right now would probably be Fighter Z, because it's Dragon Ball, and then you can't get past the fucking screens. So I fucking love that shit. That's probably my favorite fighting game, and probably the only fighting game I'd play right now.
That's valid. So for me, because actually my other cousin on my now ex-stepdad's side, we essentially grew up together because we were same grade and everything. So we were extremely close. We'd love to play Dragon Ball Z fighting games together. Later in life, we got into Naruto fighting games because he was absolutely obsessed with Naruto. Still is.
Ooh.
And the other game we absolutely loved playing was any of the Dynasty Warrior Empire games. They were so much fun because it had the strategy stuff that I loved. Because I'm like, I can calculate things. That's what I love in games, is the calculation, the analyzation and stuff, because I'm a freaking nerd. But also, he loved just destroying people. So we'd literally spend hours playing the game, and God, honestly, I miss it like hell. I wish they'd come out with a new Dynasty Warriors Empires game, because those are just so much fun. And probably, so as a kid, my best friend Tyler, which I don't speak to anymore because of my own fuck ups I'll talk about in a further episode. He was literally, me and him went through everything together for a very long time. He got me into Guitar Hero. He was much better at it than me. Guitar Hero was a big part of my childhood. He was the one that got me back into wrestling a little more often. He was the one that got me into playing GM mode consistently. But more importantly, he was the one that got me into... God, why can't I not think of what we used to really play? There was another game. Oh, wow, I'm dumb. Kingdom Hearts. We literally spent we beat Kingdom Hearts 2 an entire weekend together. Just literally hanging out, playing Kingdom Hearts. And at the time, we were constantly on MySpace flirting with different girls we went to school with and stuff. And nice. Those were like great times. It was it was right when I was starting to kind of come out of my shell. Because Tyler was my first, because actually I'd known him when I was a little kid, because his mom was my mom's best friend for years, but we hadn't seen each other for a long time. And then middle school starts, and I see him in my gym class, and I'm like, I know you, don't I? And we started talking, and that's when we realized we knew each other and everything. And it was since that, like we don't talk nowadays, and I hate it. But like, literally, without him and my best friend Rob, I honestly probably would not be here today to talk to you. Oh. But like, yeah, very much he got. That's why gaming very much is something like I adamantly defend. Like I've gotten in legit screaming matches with people. Cause like my mom actually, cause she was going back to college at the same time I was starting college, and she was doing a study on video game violence. Yeah, and I saw she was writing that. I'm like, I'm about to write a counter paper against you. She's like, what? Oh, I was like, man. I'm legitimately about to write a counter paper against you. And I did. Because I'm that kind of toxic little bastard. But, and like, that was kind of where a lot of my advocation came from, because I'm very much like, gaming, yes, can be used for bad, but so can so many other things. Like when you think about religion, money, those things can be used for good, but they can also be extremely used for bad. And gaming is no different. Look at how it's helped so many people in this world. So for me, like, gaming is very much therapeutic. It's very much something that I take on as my own. So everything when it's
has their pros and cons.
Exactly, which was my argument to it, is it all takes moderation. Some people can't handle great amounts of gaming. Some people can.
There are some games that are good for some people, and some games that you just can't have that person play.
Mm-hmm. Because actually, that leads into another really funny story. So I was doing one of my classes this past semester. Social media, God, I can't remember what the rest of it is. But one of the discussions we had to talk about, because we had to watch this really bad video, and I hated it so much. but one of the things they talk about is video game addiction, and they only talk about the negatives of video games and the addiction process, and they don't talk about the underlying factors that lead into it. Because like one of the people literally talks about how she had no social life outside of video games. Like she had no one. So when she found a support group, she kind of went in head first, which yes can be bad, but also it's at least she had someone finally. Because I know individuals that have sadly taken their lives because they didn't have that. So I think that's where my argument with gaming as extremely negative comes from is yes, it can be used for bad things, but at the same time it's can be used for good. It can be used for other things. Like I'll probably talk about this in a much later episode, because I do kind of sooner or later want to do an episode on like board games and tabletop games and RPGs and stuff. But like there's a horrible movie, actually one of Tom Hanks' first movies, called Mazes and Monsters, where where essentially a kid gets addicted to a Dungeons and Dragons style game and kills people because of it. And it's like so extremely leans towards the extreme of like what happens.
Well, what year was that movie made?
Like the 70s.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Yeah, it was right during the Satanic Panic, which a lot of things were being attacked and stuff. But yeah, that's a discussion for another day. But that actually kind of leads into next week's discussion. Gustavo, do you want to talk about it or do you want me to?
You got that, Chief.
So next week, as I mentioned before, I became an advocate with gaming and stuff, but there's other things I very much stand with. So next week, actually, we're going to be talking, we're going to have our first guest, and we're going to be talking about Black Lives Matter, actually, which, because February is Black History Month, but not just that, this is very much something that's important to both of us. We'll probably go in more in depth.
It lined up with Black History Month.
Yeah.
It was more of a coincidence.
Yeah, very much so. So we wanted to discuss it and stuff because, any kind of exposure is good, especially for something like this. So we want to give our opinions and a platform for our guest.
Yeah, I also, I'm going to be bringing in a guest from my high school, a close friend of mine, and she is very involved in things of Black Lives Matter, and because she is so involved, I want to make sure that we have someone, we do talk about that, we have someone that's actively doing shit for it so we can get that perspective as well.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I really look forward to that episode. I wanted to make sure that we knew what we were doing before we had that episode, because that's an episode I do not want to fuck up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So with that, I would like to say thank you guys for tuning in once again. This has been a great experience. I hope you guys learned a little bit more about Gustavo and I, especially like why we play the games we play.
Now, Brian, where can the people on my side find you?
Oh, yeah, duh. I forgot about the outro. So you can find me either on twitch.tv/Hawkeye57, my Twitter, which is Hawkeye or at Hawkeye57_, and my YouTube will actually be going up for next week's episode. So you can find me there. You'll find a lot of my other stuff I do, like my Nuzlocke race and stuff. So, and Gustavo, where can my people find you?
All right. So my Twitch right now is the EnderGames12, and my Twitter is Real Ender Games. I will eventually have YouTube figured out, and I will eventually have probably I'm gonna put the podcast in other places aside from Twitch and YouTube. So probably by next week, I'm gonna try to figure that out literally after this stream. I'm going to download all the past broadcasts and figure that out like right after this. So in the future, this will not be the only place that you can find this podcast. Hopefully, if all goes well. So probably next week we will have more information on that.
Yep. So, but yet again, thank you guys so much for tuning in. We hope to see you guys next week. Next week's, for both of us, I think, an extremely important episode. So please tune in. Thank you guys.
Yep.